Hello Varun, good evening. What are you doing, man? Hello? Hello Varun, are you ready? Yes, what happened? You're not keeping the headphone properly. Shall we start? Yes Varun, shall we start? Hello? 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 Ready? Shall we start? Shall we start, man? What happened? Are you able to hear? No. Problem with your earphone. Check your earphone, man. Because I am able to hear your voice. Your mic is okay. Your mic is okay, but you are not able to hear. I am able to hear, man. Hello? Yes, I can hear. Your headphone is a problem. Yeah, tell me. Nice reactions. Tell me. Yeah. Now you can you hear now? Yes, can you hear now? Yes? Hello? See that you are not setting the things properly. Oh, okay. And one more advice I'll tell you. Quite often if you plug the pin and insert it, that socket will get damaged. Afterwards you have to change that also. Don't do that. Okay, the pin will not get trouble. Problem with that settings only. Okay, be careful. Okay, shall we continue? Yeah. In the last class we have learnt about the structure of human eye. We have seen the different parts of human eye, and with that we are going to extend that part. Okay. And one information related to this eye, structure of eye, they have given some information for you to know a little bit. That is what you call it as more to know. Okay. The first one is damage or any malfunction of your part, any part of your eye, because it is very complicated structure. You know that millions of nerves are there, millions of cells are there, very complicated structure, isn't it? So any damage or any malfunction of any small part of the visual system, it will lead to a complete loss, or you can say significant loss of visual functioning. That is, there may be trouble in vision. Even a small defect can lead to trouble in viewing things, isn't it? So, for example, they have given one example. If any of the structure involved in the transmission of light, you know, transmission of light is taking place through the lens, isn't it? Like the cornea, pupil, eye lens, or even the aqueous humor or vitreous humor, are those responsible for conversion of light into electrical impulse. We know that nerves, the light sensitive nerves are there behind the retina. Even in that also, if any nerve is not functioning properly, if there is any strain, if there is any malfunction, right? So all these will result in visual impairment or visual defect, problem in viewing things. So such a complicated structure it is. So for which, for example, suppose if you are entering a room where there is very bright light, or sometimes you have experienced it when there is a power cut during night time. That is, you are watching TV, all of a sudden the light goes off, power shutdown, okay, and you are all blinking for some time, and suddenly the light comes. You may feel that how difficult for you to see clearly. Or if you are sleeping sometimes, suddenly your friend is waking you up by shining a torch light. So how uneasy for you to see that light, you know that, isn't it? But after some time, when the power comes, after some time, if you will get adapted to that surrounding, isn't it? So you may be able to see things even in dim light also. But you will be very strained, your eyes will get strained to see the things in the dim light, or even if it is a bright light also, you will be feeling that difficulty in seeing the object in the bright light also. So, to adjust this, the pupil of the eye, this is what we call as pupil, right, the black color spot. The color may be varying depending upon the person. This pupil of an eye is functioning like a variable aperture. You know that aperture is the diameter, the total diameter of the lens we have seen already, isn't it? So, to view things, what happens, this eye lens, that is what you call it as the pupil, is acting like a variable aperture whose size can be changed with the help of the iris. Iris, I have already told you, like a hand holding the lens, isn't it? That part is called iris. Suppose if a very bright light is entering your eye, okay, what will happen? Generally, we just shrink your eyes by using your eyelid or something like that, and see how difficult it is to see the things in the bright light. So why it is happening? Because of not because of the external muscles around your eyes, but it is internally the iris which is contracting the pupil to allow less light to enter the light. That means the aperture of the lens is reduced. So it is like camera. When the camera is open, more light will allow. When it is closing, the shutter is closed, what will happen? Light will not allow. Like this iris will contract so that it will allow less light to enter the eye. Right? Similarly, if it is a very dim light, if you are not able to see things, so what will happen? Again the iris will expand. The hand-like structure, it will expand. Try to pull the eye lens apart, the pupil apart, so that it will expand a little bit, and so that more light will enter the eye, so that we can see the objects very clearly. Right? So this iris is only enabling the pupil to adjust for various surrounding, whether it is bright light or dim light, suitably to view the objects very, very clearly. Right? Now the next topic related to this is the power of accommodation. The power of accommodation. You know the word meaning, literary meaning of accommodate, isn't it? To adjust, we say. Accommodate means to adjust, to occupy, all those things we say. Right? Now let us see. We have already seen the structure of human eye, isn't it? This eye lens, what you have seen, that the inner part, this eye lens, which is composed of fibrous jelly-like material. Have you ever seen ice fruit? Have you ever heard about this ice fruit? Have you heard of this? What is that? Ice fruit is very commonly available thing in the villages. If I say in Tamil, oh, that only, you know. But if it is in English, you find it difficult to understand, you know. It is a colloquial word which we use in the villages. Nungun solluvalle, nungu. You know nungu? The palmyra fruits. The palm tree. That is called ice fruit, okay? Because it is akin to ice, you know. That is why it is called ice fruit. So if you have seen that ice fruit, it is something like this eye lens. It will also be like that only. That eye lens, which is composed of, fibrous jelly-like material. It is also like jelly-like material. If you cut that ice fruit and see, it will be like jelly-like material. Very, very, very soft. Right? So that also, that ice fruit also, if you press little bit, it will expand, and you can just a little bit like a jelly, you can extend that and elongate that size also. It will be like that only. So this eye lens also will be like similar to that one. So when you are pressing that, you know, when you are pressing that or elongate that, when you are stretching that, the curvature of that can be modified to some extent by the ciliary muscles, right? So due to the change in the curvature, right, what will happen? You know that if the curvature is changing, the focal length will also be changing. You know why? We have already discussed about that. Suppose if you are taking say, I'll use a mirror to explain that. It will be easy for you to understand. Okay. So this is a concave mirror, for example, right? So when the light is falling on that, suppose I say this is the principal focus. Okay. So it will meet at this point, principal focus, right? Suppose if the curvature is now changing, right? Now I am changing the curvature so that it is something like that. See that? It is going to be like this. Now what will happen? The light will fall on that. Again what will happen? The focal length, this distance will be changed. Now you can see. How it is changing, you can see. Isn't it? So if you elongate that accordingly, depending upon the change in the curvature of the lens, the focal length can also be varied. Isn't it? Right? So that is how this lens, which is fibrous, because it is not a solid one. If it is a solid one, it is rigid, that it cannot change this curvature. That is why God has provided with the fibrous jelly-like material, so that if with a little stress on that, or with a little strain on that, it can be compressed or elongated, so that it can adjust for the focal length. Right? Say for example, clearly it is shown using the diagram here. When the muscles are relaxed, what do you mean by relaxed? Means it is a little bit elongated. The lens becomes thin. It is like stretching. Okay, when it is relaxed, the lens becomes thin. So what will happen when it is becoming thin? The focal length increases. That means the curvature will be increase. You can say curvature will be decreasing. When the curvature is decreasing, what will happen? It will be like a long curve. Okay, if it is a short curve, we can say the curvature will be changing. So when the lens becomes thin, the focal length will also be increasing. When the lens becomes thin, what will happen? The focal length will increase. So what will happen if the focal length is increasing? Here you can see that there is an object, distant object is there. So suppose for example 50 meters, right? Now it is just entering the eye. Now the image is formed on the retina. Now what happens? The lens is adjusting itself so that it becomes thin. When it is becoming thin, what happens? The image will be seen very clearly on the retina. You can see the difference in the image. The image here it is not clear. The image here it is clear. Why is it? Because there is a problem with the lens, right? There are various reasons. Here I have shown that there is a problem with the vision. That is why it is adjusting itself. But the same thing can be even if there is no defect in the vision also, due to the external factors like intensity of light or dim light, this can also be varied like this so that the image can be clearly seen. Okay. Right. This is one example. Similarly, when you are looking at an object which is closer to the eye, right? When it is closer to the eye, the ciliary muscles are contracting. So when it is contracting, the curvature of the lens will be increasing. Okay, that means if the curvature is increasing, the lens becomes thicker. That is, suppose if the lens is thin like this, you can see that the curvature will be bigger like this. So if the lens is somewhat thick like this, the curvature will be very small. You can see how it is decreasing, isn't it? So in this way, when the lens is contracting, when the eye lens is becoming thicker, what will happen? The curvature will increase. When the curvature is increasing, what will happen? The focal length will decrease consequently. So that you can see the nearby object very clearly. Right? So, generally this can be easily experienced by the people who are suffering due to this defects of vision. Right? That we are going to learn about this in the later stages. So for some people, they cannot see distant objects. Some people, they cannot see the near object. For them, they will use the lens. But they cannot use the same lens for both the for both the defects, isn't it? So for correcting one kind of defect, they will use the particular lens. So like that, this kind of adjustment is provided by God to some extent naturally, not wearing the external lenses. It is accommodated. It is adjusted internally within a particular limit. But when it is crossing that limit only, we are unable to do that, so that we will go for the modification externally, right? So like this, naturally, the ability of eye lens to adjust its focal length is called the accommodation. It is called the accommodation, or we call it as power of accommodation, right? As I said, the focal length of this eye cannot be decreased below a certain limit. It cannot be increased or it cannot be decreased to a beyond certain limit. It is a natural setup, isn't it? So to natural setup, there is a limitation for everything. Beyond that, if it goes, what will happen? The person will become, what we say, blind. They cannot see things very clearly, right? So this sentence, these two sentences are very, very important, which is a definition we can say. The ability of the eyes to adjust the focal length is called a accommodation, right? Now let us see what is accommodation. What is that adjusting? Right. Suppose if you are trying to read a page in a book, right? So you can also try that also. You keep the book very closer to your eyes, right? if you try to see like this, by keeping the books very closer to that, within few minutes you will feel that strain in your eye. You will feel the strain in your eye, and that will lead to your headache. Right? This headache, you know that there are various hundreds of reasons for headache. One of the major causes for headache is that defect in the eye. When the strain is caused in the eye, because we have already seen that behind the retina there are a number of nerves are there, optically sensitive nerves are there. When you put strain on the nerves, what will happen? That will lead to brain. It's informing that it is straining much. So that brain will automatically give pain to the other parts. It is only a symptom. That we have to understand that headache is not a disease. Actually, headache is the root cause for some other strain in your body. The headache may be due to body heat, rise in the temperature, or physical strain, or any nerve strain, or any other reason may be there, but that will result first in headache. Right? So when you are keeping the book very closer to that, what will happen? You will not be able to see the image very clearly. It will be like a blurred image. So due to that, your eye will try to adjust, like automatic camera, you know how the lens is adjusting itself. Like that, it will also try to adjust for certain limit. Beyond that, it cannot adjust, so that it will start giving strain on that. You will feel very tired and headache will be there. Isn't it? You can also try that by reading a book like this. You will find it very difficult. So, if you want to see any object, or if you want to read anything comfortably and distinctly, very clearly, you must hold at about 25 centimeter from the eye. What do you call it as? The least distance of distinct vision. What is that? The minimum distance that you have to keep the object so that you can see the object very clearly and distinctly. That is called a LDDV, we say. LDDV, least distance of distinct vision. Or it can also be called a near point of the eye. We call it as near point of the eye. Beyond which, before the near point of the eye, if you keep any object, you cannot see that. So you can see that here it is almost 25 centimeter from the eye. Suppose if the book is little bit closed here, little bit, for example 1 or 2 centimeters, the eye can adjust itself to modify the focal length. That is possible. But since the eye is adjusting, keep on adjusting the focal length, after some time, if it is not properly kept, you will feel the strain. You will feel very stressed, and very soon you will not start reading, you will sleep on the table itself. So why do people feel that strain while reading? Because they are not keeping the correct posture. You can see that how this lady is sitting properly and reading that. This is the correct posture. Even I can say this is also wrong, because when you are resting your back on any chair like this, that will put a lot of strain on your spinal cord. Though eye is kept at the correct position, your spinal cord will have the strain. So if the spinal cord is not kept straight while reading, that will also lead to tiredness. So that will inform the brain that the posture is not maintained properly, so that it will inform the chemicals, we can say. It is like, enemies, how they are destroying the target by keeping the bombs, like that the brain will inform by sending the secretions, chemicals, signals, that it will give pain to all the bodies. Very soon you will start sleeping. And when moms ask, you will say that these bloody idiots, while printing they have mixed some chemicals in the letters. That is why whenever I take the book, I have started sleeping. People used to say like that. But the correct problem is that they are not maintaining the posture, correct posture. That means you have to sit straight. You have to sit straight, and you would have seen that in olden days how these people were undergoing what you call as in forest. Usually they study under the guidance of guru, what you call in the ancient period. Usually they will have long hair, where in Gurukulam, where they will tie that hair on the wall, so that even if they are sleeping also, it will be taking back. They will not lean down, so that they will keep the body straight, and they will have a board, what you call it as like X, they will have a board like this. You have seen that we call it as chikku palagan சொல்லுவாங்க in Tamil. Chikku palaga அப்படினுவாங்க, like X. Like you know, if you hold your hand like this, how the hand will look like. So they will keep the book like this here. Yeah, chikku palagan, right? So that you need not keep on adjusting the book. It will be at one particular place, and your body is also at particular place because your hair is tied at the behind the wall, so that you cannot move. So you can sit like that for a long time and read. Then even if you start sleeping also, something will be pulling you back. So that is how people are able to memorize and recite so many things, and they are able to keep that in the mind for a long time. But nowadays what happens, we have got a nice bed, we have got a nice easy chair and cushion chair, everything, so that we think that at ease we can read, but within 10 to 15 minutes we'll get strained and we'll start sleeping, isn't it? So usually we have to choose a correct table, correct chair and the correct position, so that even if you can sit for 2 hours also, you can read with a lot of concentration, full concentration, right? That point we have to bear in mind. Okay. Now, for a young adult, what is that young adult? Adult means young only. All young cannot become adult, no? That is why it is called young adult. People say that at 50 years also I am very young and energetic, but they are not adult, no? So this young adult, normally they have got a normal vision, right? For them, the near point is about 25 centimeters, isn't it? What will happen? The farthest point up to which the eye can see the object clearly, that is called the far point of the eye. Far point of the eye. Already we have seen the near point of the eye. This is called the far point of the eye. Right. What is that? Far point of the eye. So, yeah, it is usually when you are very young, right? You can see any object exactly, even say we can say approximately infinite distance, like the stars, the planets, things which are very very far away also you can see, right? But you cannot say that, sir, if you say that, can you say that what is there in the moon? You cannot ask like this. I say that you can see the object to some extent. You cannot see inside and like a zooming camera, like satellite, and see what is inside. It is approximately said that infinite distance for a normal eye, right? So distant object can be seen. So the normal eye can see object clearly between these two limits. What is the limit? Between 25 centimeter and infinite distance. In between only the things can be very clearly seen. It cannot be seen even, you can ask that even is there anything beyond infinity? Is there anything point called beyond infinity? No. Infinite means infinity. But before the 25 centimeter we can say that is also difficult for eye to accommodate itself. Very difficult, isn't it? Yeah. So between these two limits, human eye can see any object clearly. So that is what we say, the least distance of a distinct vision, also the near point of the eye and the far point of the eye. Because in multiple choice they may ask, which one of the following is known as near point of the eye? You know that 25 centimeters is the near point of the eye. Similarly, far point of the eye is infinite distance, infinity. So these are the two limits you have to understand. Sometimes what happens, the crystalline lens of people at old ages, what happened? That is not the power, that is only the least distance. We can say least power, we can say. Okay, least power of human eye is, as you said, 4 diopter, right? If it is less than that, we cannot see, right? That way we can take. Similarly, infinite also we can use. Yeah. So when people become old due to aging, right? So what will happen on the eye, on the crystalline lens, there will be a substance like milky and cloudy things will be forming, like a layer, right? You would have seen that some birds, like especially like owl or some of the fishes, even inside the sea, you can see some shark-like animals. Their eyes, they'll be very often they'll be wiping with like a screen, because they are just floating inside the water, that will always be sticking to some dust particles, isn't it? So every time this, like a screen, it will wipe that eye and then goes off. But for human beings, though they are outside the water, what happens due to aging, a milky, like cloudy structure will be forming on the lens. On the lens behind that screen. Okay, what is that screen? On that cornea, in between that, the pupil and behind the, there is like a white color substance. And this white color substance the formation of white color substance, what you call as cataract. It is not a actual cat entering, it is only a cataract. It is acting like a cat because I don't know why have they kept this name for that. Probably you would have seen that cats during night time, how the cats are looking during night time. Have you ever seen that? Have you seen the eyes of cats during night time? Even cats, dogs, or even tiger, lion, all these animals, even in darkness, it will be like glowing, like that means that the eye cannot be seen as a black one, it will be like a bright one. Similarly, these eyes also, due to aging, it will become like that, so that hopefully they would have kept this as a cataract. It is acting like a cat, so that it is cataract. So this kind of cataract causing a partial or sometimes complete loss of vision. It is not a we cannot usually in olden days people were thinking that it is complete loss of vision, but actually after the scientific advancement, they have found out that this can be removed using a surgery, that after which you can restore the vision. That means actually I have seen that surgery when my mom was undergoing that. They use the a syringe like thing. They will remove the outer layer, little bit they will cut here, they will insert the syringe like a machine. It will suck the white color material, cloudy milky white material. They will suck that out and they will use the water like saline water or some medicine. They will use that and they will flush it. It is like cleaning your bathroom, like that they will clean that inside that. So that every white color, everything will be sucked it out, after which depending upon the adjustment, they will insert the lens. A small foldable lens is there. And that lens, after folding that, when they insert that, it will just widen and will occupy the full surface. After which they will close that skin. And they will apply some medicine and antibiotics so that this cut, which is made in the cornea, it will get cured within a few weeks. After which the complete vision can be restored. So this is only a minor surgery, what we can call it as. But if there is any damage in the pupil, that lens, that is very difficult to restore vision by using surgery. They have to change the lens itself. What you call it as? We call it as eye surgery. This is not at all an eye surgery. It is actually cataract surgery. But eye surgery is somewhat difficult, that they have to go for people who are donating the eyes. From their eye only, they have to transplant this lens. Then only they can restore the vision. Provided if the problem is with the lens, right? In some cases, if the problem is due to the sensitive nerves behind the retina, all those cases can be cured by using medicines to some extent. But if it is beyond that limit, the person will lose the astigmatism is nothing but that is also an eye problem. So far, but it is not in your portion actually. But even then, I'll tell you that you will study that in the higher classes, like in college degrees, where you are studying about the optics itself as a paper. Like what you are reading as science as a paper, there will be a book called optics. In that subject, you will be reading about this astigmatism. This astigmatism is nothing but the optic axis. We have seen the lens, the lens through which we are able to see an imaginary line, optical axis. That optical axis itself will be deviating from its original position. So due to that, what will happen? you will not be able to see the things clearly. Again, that will also cause trouble. For which, how much the optic axis has deviated, that has to be corrected. Right? So for that, the lens, they will have the curvature. The aperture will be different for them. So that using that, they will restore the axis. Suppose sometimes they may have in one eye they will have 30 degree and another eye they will have 160 degree due to the deviation in the optic axis. So that is what we call as astigmatism. Okay, it is which is somewhat different from your myopia and hypermetropia, or the other problem, what you call it as for old people, what you call presbyopia. So all these three things are there. Beyond that, this astigmatism is somewhat different. Okay, even for young people it is there. Okay, that is because of the change in the optic axis. Okay, now there is another interesting question. Usually people have that in their mind. Lord Shiva has got the third eye on his forehead. Like this, even people can have only one eye. Why should God waste one more eye to provide vision? Because even with one eye we are able to see things. Why should we have two eyes? Why should we have two ears? Only one mouth? If God has given two mouth, if God has given two mouth, it will be very easy, One mouth will be talking to the teacher, another mouth will be eating behind. How much easy it will be. But God has given two eyes and 2 ears. Why has He done like this? People used to think, isn't it? There are several advantages of having 2 eyes instead of one. The mouth one, because we know that it is like we cannot have the spare mouth. It will be very difficult to keep that shut. All the time it will be talking nonsense. So that is why God has given one. That is well known to everybody. And eyes also, so that we can hear things on both the sides. If one side is closed, it means people who are shouting at you or scolding you, you cannot hear. So that if you have got 2 ears, you can hear properly. But what about this eye? Why is it given only one? Because it is like, to have a wider vision. So because human beings are walking erect, it is not like animals. Those who are 4-footed animals will be walking on the, they'll be crawling or walking on the surface, where they will be hunting for prey, or they'll become prey for hunting animals. So to keep them safe, they've got eyes on both the sides. So if the eyes are on both the sides, they will cover almost 360 degrees. One eye will see this full total 180 degree, and this eye will see total 180 degree, so that they can have on both the sides. Of course, they cannot see on behind. So that part alone, almost we can say, out of 360 degree, they can see almost 270 degree viewing they can have. Isn't it? So because only behind their head the animals cannot see. Right? But there is only one animal which can see 360 degrees. Can you tell me which animal is that? No. It is a known animal. Since I am saying animal, you may be thinking it is actually a bird, because bird is also an animal. Yeah? No, it's owl. Owl. Owl can rotate that head totally and see everything behind. So totally 360 degree you can see things very clearly. Right? So that is the greatest boon for that owl. Right? Similarly here, when you are talking about a human being, these human beings have got a horizontal field of view because we are able to see only straight, horizontally. All these things horizontally, about around 150 degree with one eye and about 180 degree with the 2 eyes. 150 to 180. If you close your one eye, you will be able to see maximum 150 degree. If you measure that angle to which you can see by closing your eye, you see one object and mark a point, and then see the other object to the extreme point and see this angle will be almost 150 degree. And if you are able to use both the eyes, you will be able to see around 180 degree throughout horizontally with the two eyes. So to enhance that ability to see the faint object, that is for very long distance object, that is on both the sides, is enhanced by having two eyes. And also the other one is that we call it as binocular vision. I don't know whether you are able to grasp the point. The binocular is the one which will give you like a 3D image. It is something like the sound which is heard as a stereo effect. In the stereo desktop speakers, if you use only one speaker, you'll be hearing the noise on one side. The other stereo will give the sound on the other side. But when you are using both the speakers together, you'll feel that the sound is in between, middle. Similarly, when you are using both the eyes, by closing one eye, if you touch the object will be somewhere. By closing another eye, if you see the object, if you try to touch the object, it will be somewhere. But by opening both the eyes, you can see the exact three-dimensional image of the object. And sometimes you can see that the animals, what you call as prey animals, which they hunt for their food, their eyes will be positioned on opposite sides, as I said, so that they can have a maximum of around 270 degree widest possible view on both the sides, so that they, even if they are going to get caught by the prey animal, they can get escape from that. For that only they have got the eyes on both the sides, not like us. We have got eyes only on the face, but for them the eyes are positioned on the sidewise, so that it will enhance the maximum field of view. And as I said, with the two eyes which are positioned in front of your head, it reduces the field of view in favor of what is called a stereopsis. As I said now about stereo sound, it is also like a stereopsis. You can see that this image, what you call as three-dimensional image, right? To actually the three-dimensional image, have you heard about that? You would have seen 3D movies also. Actually, 3D movie is somewhat different from the ordinary movie. In ordinary movie, we have got only length and breadth. We will not have the real effect. In the three-dimensional images, the same picture will be caught by the camera in three different angles. That means lengthwise, breadthwise and heightwise, the same scene, for example, or scene or any object or any picture or any person will be caught at the same time, and all the three will be merged together as a single one. That is what we are able to see now here. So this all the three pictures are here. When you are using that specific lens, the eyewear, everything will be clubbed together and seen as a real one. Have you ever seen a 3D movie? Yeah? What is the recent movie I have seen in 3D? You don't remember? Okay. But I think when I was in 7th standard or 6th standard, I don't remember the year actually. For the first time, we were able to see the 3D movie. The what do you call? I remember the name also. Kaattukulle Thiruvizha அப்படினு ஒரு 3D movie. That was the first time. That is after that first 3D movie, this movie was released in Shanti Theatre at Chennai. That was the first time we went there, and we did not know the procedure and all, we did not know the experience, we didn't have the previous experience. For the first time we were seeing, and all the people were sitting in the chairs comfortably and watching that. In a particular scene, there was an earthquake in the movie, where there was a big mountain. The rocks, big rocks were rolling down from the top to the bottom, down the mountain. You know what happened? Almost 80 to 85% of the people, they were hiding themselves behind the chairs, thinking that the rock will just fall on them. That much effect it was giving. We were all frightened to see that. And even if the ice comes out of the screen, we used to open the mouth and see as if it is coming to our mouth. Like that, it was like a real experience that for the first time we had. So that kind of experience is possible with our eye. What we are able to see, everything is three-dimensional object. To produce this three-dimensional object in the movie, you know how much technology we require. A lot of camera, a lot of people have to work together. That much external effort is required for people to produce. But God has given internally so that it is producing very easily and fantastic three-dimensional pictures with our two eyes. So that is possible only if you see through both the eyes. But if you keep one eye open and see the object, it will be like a two-dimensional only. You cannot see the third dimension. So like this, if you want to see the third dimension, definitely that is what you call as depth. We have to use both the eye, right? So that is how God has given us two eyes for us to see the object, see the colorful world and enjoy. And also, our eyes are separated by few centimeters. You can see that in between the eyes there is a nose. You know that it is somewhat separated by some few centimeters, around 1.5, maybe 2 centimeters. And similarly, each eye can see a slightly different object. When suppose if you are looking at an image, each eye will be looking at the image in a different way, because though it is almost alike, when God has created, both the eyes are in size wise, material wise, nerves wise or lens wise, everywhere you can see that both are similar. But due to manufacture defect or due to our failure in maintaining that also, there may be a slight difference in viewing the image. But what happens when you are viewing the object, both the eyes are viewing the same object, the image produced by each object will be sent to our brain, so that the brain is combining both the images into one and using extra information, whatever it can perceive by using the image. Because as I said, one image, one eye may see that very clearly and some other extra information also. The other eye may not see that extra information. But what will happen when you combine both the eyes, both the images combined together, whatever the extra information produced will be merged together, and it will give us the correct depth of the vision, and or even the far away objects also can be seen very clearly. That is what it is given here. One eye, if it is seeing, it is only 2D. The other is also seeing only 2D. So both of them are combining so that we are able to see the exact 3D image. Okay, that is very interesting information that we have to note down. The next one is the defects of vision. This usually, as we have already discussed, there are basically 3 defects, or what we call as refractive defects, we can say. Though we say defects of vision, it is not caused due to the infection or defects in the nerves or defects in the muscles, not all those things. It is only because of refractive defects. It is because of the lens, eye lens. That is why we call it as, it is refractive defects of vision. We cannot say simply defects of vision, it is refractive defects of vision. The first one is myopia or nearsightedness. Very often we confuse this, how to remember this, right? So myopia, near vision or nearsightedness. So how to remember that? You just take the word M and N. M and N. Okay, myopia and because after M the next letter is N, so that we can say the next one is nearsightedness. So because in the exams they used to get confused, myopia and the second one they will think that this is nearsightedness, this is farsightedness. Hypermetropia. Hypermetropia is nothing but farsightedness. So to remember M and N easy. After that the next one easily. Okay. So hypermetropia is nothing but farsightedness. The third one is nothing but presbyopia. Presbyopia is the third one. And these two are common. For anybody it can occur. But the third one is only due to aging. Only for elderly people this kind of defects will be caused. Okay. So this defects, since it is only refractive defects, it can easily be rectified by using a suitable spherical lenses, whether it is concave or convex. Depending upon the kind of defects, we can easily correct the defects by using a particular lens. Right, these things we'll deal in detail in the next class. Okay, so within this, if you have got any questions, you can ask. Because usually, when we are about to close only, you will open your mouth and ask something. And I will miss that, thinking that that boy would have asked something like that. If you have got anything, you can ask. At least அதை புடிச்சு வச்சுன்னு அடுத்த கிளாஸ்ல கேட்கலாம் இல்லையா, மறந்துடுறிய நீ. No, don't force your brain to ask questions. It has to come spontaneously. Then it will be very natural. And after learning from this session, I want you to maintain a correct posture while you are viewing the screen. I've been noting down that you are not maintaining correct posture. You are coming very closer to the screen, and your eyes will get strained, and your glass, width will become very larger, and one day you will become soda bottle. It should not become like that. Okay, you have to keep a correct posture. And the LDD, least distance of distinct vision, that also you should maintain. And if possible, you can ask your mom to give you one anti-glare specs. There is specs which will avoid the glare produced by the monitors. Nowadays, people who are working in IT industries, most of them are getting strained because of the intensity of light produced by the screen. Okay, so to avoid that, there is a special specs available which will avoid the glare also. Or even while you are ordering for your power lens also, you can ask for that. There is a special coating available which will be provided on the glass to avoid the glare, so that you will be very safe. Hope that you will understand that and follow the procedure from the next class onwards. Okay, shall we wind off now? We'll see in the next class. Yeah, definitely. Anti-glare, anti-scratch, unbreakable. All the three things are there. This costs around 7,000 rupees only. Okay, bye. See you.